Okay. All right. So we are here for our AMA number 2 with ShibaDoge for their part C of their proposal. We're going to go ahead and let them do the proposal, and then after we'll let them, any community members or mods, go ahead and ask questions. But I'll go ahead and let ShibaDoge kick it off.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you for having us. We're going to keep this pretty simple and straightforward. I'm going to pin our proposal, our plan C, into the main chat right now. If someone could please pin that.
Yeah, I can do it for you.
I'm restricted from posting.
Or just if you want, Peter, just DM it to me and I'll post it.
I got once I posted it, then I wasn't able to post again. But if I send it to you, you'll probably have the same issue. But let me send it to you.
Okay. Yep, there we go.
I see it. I will pin this.
All right. So obviously, this isn't the proposal that the Shibnobi community wants to see, but after looking into everything, I think this is a path that we need to undertake if we want Shibnobi to have a successful future. Our plan C incorporates relaunching Shibnobi with the community approved tokenomics and token distribution. So we want to relaunch Shibnobi with tokenomics approved by the community and token distributions approved by the community. We feel that we have to undertake this route, unfortunately, because we're not aware of how the token distribution looks in V2, and we're uncertain if that is going to cause an issue as the community grows and as the project grows. We don't know what might entail because the token allocation in V2 is not transparent to us. So if we want to, our proposal is to relaunch Shibnobi with the community approving the tokenomics and transparent token distribution. And we want to keep the community, its independent community. We wanted it to be a community-run project with minimal investment by us in terms of just our time. But obviously, we're there to provide leadership. We're always going to be there. But we just want to make it a point that we want the Shibnobi community to grow on its own. We wanted to entail the values of Shibnobi and what it stands for and what it stood for from the beginning, which is transparency, integrity, and trust, right? So our plan C is, and unfortunately it's came to this conclusion, but we feel that we need to ensure a sustainable future for Shibnobi, we would have to relaunch the token. And so we propose a relaunching of the Shibnobi with community approved tokenomics and token distribution. So the community, we will propose tokenomics for the community to decide on. And we have some cool ideas, obviously, which I could get into, but I'll keep that for if anyone's interested after for questions. But we will propose tokenomics for the community to decide and approve on, and the relaunch of Shibnobi will not be launched without community approval. The token distribution will be very transparent, so you'll know that if the community grows and continues to grow, there won't be anybody to sell on the project. It will be a fair launch, so there will be no pre-sales, right? So we're all about creating a decentralized and community-driven project and ecosystem with whatever we touch. So we will make sure that this is a fair launch, just like ShibaDoge was. There will be no pre-sale wallets. There will be nothing. Everybody will have a fair opportunity to invest in the project at the time that we do launch the new version. That's our
Yeah.
30-day plan. Our 60-day plan, we will look into which utilities that Shibnobi did create and invested a lot of funds into creating have value. We will take a look into those, and we will decide whether we want to keep some or we don't want to keep some. And we will give you an explanation on why we would not decide to keep any. And obviously the community to let us know why we should keep it or why we shouldn't or why we should move on. We will also, within 60 days, within 30 days, we will market, not only relaunch Shinja, but we will market in a successful launch. We will put all our marketing resources and all our marketing experience behind making sure that the Shibnobi relaunch is done correctly and successfully, so that it is built for the future. It is built for 100, 200, 300, and so on years. So we're always here. So that is part of our 30-day plan, 60 days to continue. We want to keep the NFT ecosystem alive. We want to figure out what's the best way to position them so it does grow for the long term, right? So it's always here. It's part of an ever-growing ecosystem. So within our 60 days, we will see which utilities we want to keep and how we want to position the NFTs to ensure that they do live on forever. Our 90-day plan consists of stabilizing the Shibnobi brand and growing the community. We obviously, Shibnobi, let's be real, we're here because it's been through a lot within the last year or two. So within our 90-day plan, we want to be able to stabilize the Shibnobi, the brand and the community. And at the same time, but start getting into the groove of things and growing the community. Also, we cannot forget our exchanges, because at the end of the day, when we launch, no matter which project launches, these exchanges have helped us, and they've been there from the very beginning, and they've been supportive of us, obviously. So we can't forget them. So within the 90-day plan, we will work on stabilizing these exchange relationships, our existing ones, and we will start targeting tier 1 exchanges. Also, I just want to stress that this is going to be a community-focused project, and the goal with everything we do is decentralization. So that's where we're trying to get to. That is our 90-day plan. Our 120-day plan is, obviously there's going to be a lot of things that the community comes up with that they want to pitch, this and that. But just to add something in there, the 120-day plan, we will work on cross-integrating with our own ecosystem here in Shibadoge and Shibnobi. So we'll make sure both products and both ecosystems, independent of each other, are integrated and work together and grow together. And if that's a proposal that the community respects and wants to acknowledge, then we're here for that. Lastly, to just finish it off, obviously there's a lot the community wants to say that they haven't been able to say. So we're open to what the community has to add before a relaunch and what questions they might have. Obviously, there's issues with the V1 to V2 migration issues. So we're here to, if that's a question that the community has, we're here to fix that to make sure anything the community wants to add, please feel free, and we will obviously address all of that. Thank you.
Amazing, Peter. I want to touch on a couple things too. I want to touch on how we even got to this point from our plan A and B to now this proposal. So after we had our first presentation in here, and that voice call ended, I spent the next few days analyzing the chat, what kind of feedback was coming from the community members, and obviously the major takeaway that I got was everybody who was still passionate about Shibnobi, about their project, wanted to see Shibnobi grow and continue growing as a brand, as a standalone. So everybody was for plan A. Nobody really wanted to go with the plan B of merging anyway, right? So our takeaway was let's figure out another plan on how we can scale Shibnobi and keep the brand strong and keep the Shinja community as the Shinja community. But there were a lot of things in our DD that kind of made it uncomfortable for us to experiment with continuing on with the current contract and continuing on with even a migration. One of it being, obviously there was a pre-sale. Another one being that there's token allocations all across the board that can't be verified, and nobody wants to have uncertainty. We don't want to have uncertainty, and you guys as investors don't want to have uncertainty either. So we've come to the conclusion that a proper relaunch, a fair launch, is the absolute cleanest way to go about doing it. Now, you probably have questions as to what's going to happen with the liquidity of the current contract and all the holders there and this and that. So we wouldn't touch that. We would leave that. There are some options we explore as far as like, hey, just stopping trading. As far as buying, you guys will still be able to sell, so you could get out of your position and you're not locked into it. But we would close like buying, so nobody accidentally buys the wrong contract or anything like that. And we can explore different avenues of even migrating some of that money into the new Shibnobi, if that's what the community wants. But there are different options. There are different ways we could go about it. That's something that we discuss with the community and see how the community would prefer to have it done. Obviously, at the end of the day, we're not a dictatorship here. We are leaders. We do know how to lead communities, but we're not a dictatorship. We do like to get the community say on everything. We do like to do things with the community because at the end of the day, we are holders ourselves too. So we are a part of the community ourselves at the very root of it. But I honestly do think that this is the correct path forward if you guys wish to scale and continue to be in this project. And I made this clear to our community too, because a lot of people from our community are also asking questions as to like, hey, why is Leo and the team dedicating their efforts and time into Shibnobi? Like, what do they have anything to do with us? I want to make it clear, we're doing this because we want to, and we don't want to see the project fail. We've collaborated at a point in time where our communities together, we went to space together. Literally, we went to space together, right? I sent a screenshot in here. There's a video on YouTube and everything. So there is some sort of a connection that our ecosystem has with the Shibnobi ecosystem. Call it a spiritual relationship, whatever you want to call it. I don't even know how to explain it. But the point is, we don't want to see the community fail. We don't want to see a project of this magnitude dwindle down to nothing. We don't want to see a brand that was built up to the magnitude that it was built up to kind of fall apart. And I truly don't want to see a bunch of investors lose everything that they've worked so hard to achieve, right? So we won't sugarcoat it. We're not going to give you guys smoke and mirrors and gimmicks or anything like that. We're not going to give you guys fake promises. We're going to be always completely upfront, honest, and frank. You guys have heard our proposals. We're not going to have a D proposal. This is pretty much our final proposal. We don't want to merge Shinja holders into Shibadoge as well, because that comes with the same issues that having the uncertainty of holders and the pre-sellers and this and that's not gonna solve the issue. The proper way to fix this is a proper fair launch, relaunch, and continue strong with the brand. And considering that, I'd like to say that we know what we're doing in the space. Considering that we know what we're doing in the space, I can see it being a successful venture. But with that being said, if anybody has anything else they want to add on to, go ahead. If not, we're open to questions.
Sorry, guys, I'm getting here late. Had a little situation I had to handle. So I'm gonna have to go back and actually hear the proposal myself in person. Yeah, if anybody's got any questions, go ahead and raise your hands, and we'll bring you up. First million. Go ahead, dear.
Hello, good day, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you for this proposal. I appreciate your kindness or the business that you're bringing or the help or assistance you're bringing to Shibnobi is very kind of you. Also, the question I want to ask for this third proposal is it that people that have had a position in Shinja previously will lose all their investment for a new token to be relaunched or for a relaunch? How is it going to pan out?
No, so it would be a completely new like launch. So there would be no token migration. We would leave the liquidity alone in the current Shinja. So we wouldn't touch that. You guys will be free to go in and do whatever you want with that liquidity. That would be your guys' liquidity for the time being. We're not going to touch that. That's not in our intentions. Our intentions are to start a clean slate. So a proper fair launch, no airdrops, no pre-sales, no funny business, nothing like that. A proper fair launch where everybody will have a honest chance of getting in on day one, and there will be no uncertainty as to like, hey, do these pre-sellers own X amount? Does the dev own X amount? Nothing like that. Everything will be fully transparent. And I believe a fresh start is the proper way to scale the brand back to a successful path.
So it's like everybody losing their previous investment. That's what it means.
No, it doesn't mean that you're losing anything because we're not touching the old contract. So all the liquidity and all of the tokens and everything in there is still going to be available to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Minister of Fun, go ahead.
Hey, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, we
sure.
hear you.
And
Okay.
Divine, you're going to go after Minister of Fun. Sorry, but go ahead.
Yeah, you're fine. All right. So if I'm hearing it right, let me make sure I heard it right. So the coins that we currently have, if we went this route, they're going to be migrated or not? Like I was trying to figure out what the young lady was saying.
Yeah, no, they would not be migrated. It would be a complete fresh start. Though the brand would still keep everything as far as the socials and everything else, but the official token would be a brand new launch, right? But we wouldn't touch the liquidity or anything from the current operating contract. We'll still leave that open for you guys to do whatever you want with it, right? So if you have $1,000 of Shinja tokens in there, you're not going to just be like poof gone. It's not going to be poof gone. You could go in there and take it out as long as you want. So it would just be a fresh start with clean slate, proper marketing, proper structure, proper tokenomics, proper roadmap. So, and obviously you guys have a much larger community now because it'll be integrated with the Shibadoge community as well.
Okay, so just to make sure that's what I'm hearing is if we have $1,000 worth of Shinja right now and all this takes place, we can remove that $1,000 worth and then go back into the new coin and get the value that way. Is that right?
Yeah, however you like. Like imagine it like this: we're not touching the current project, right? The current contract, the way it stands, will not be modified, right? So if people are still in there buying, selling, whatever, that's up to them. But we wouldn't go in there and be like, hey, there's 800K of liquidity in here. We're pulling it. We're not going to do that. We're not going to touch it. We're going to leave it in there, and then the community can do whatever they please with that.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
But eventually, as the liquidity does start to dwindle, we will have to pause that contract from existing, and we would obviously we'd figure out a way if you could still manually claim through our website or whatever we need to, but we would pause that contract eventually, and we would focus on our main new contract moving forward.
Appreciate the answers, guys.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm reading the question in the chat. It says, "So I'll never get my initial investment back unless I reinvest in this new one." So I wouldn't even guarantee you anything because I can't guarantee. It would be financial advice if I guarantee you anything. So I'm never going to do that. But what I can say is a proper structure and transparency and a new launch would probably be the best bet for anyone to see any type of recovery. Because the way that I see it, I'm going to be completely 100% honest. I've done a fair amount of my due diligence in the past weeks, and we don't want to keep poking at a dead horse. It's not gonna fix the underlying issues. The community is strong, the brand is strong, everything about it is strong. But the way that the distribution and the project is right now, there's no way it's going to scale back to a successful point. Now, that's my opinion, and that's the reason why we're giving the proposal that we're giving.
All right, Divine, go ahead, and then Muhammad, I've unmuted you. You'll go after Divine, and then Nils, you'll go after Muhammad.
Hi, everybody. Hi. My question is, are you funding, because obviously a big thing with Shibnobi is our utilities, and getting them up and running again is a big thing. Obviously, that's a major, the most important thing. Are you funding us to get back on, or is that up to us to create the money to get us back up and running again?
Yeah, so we would curate in the beginning. We would curate which of the utilities we think are most important, and which of the ones we find a proper use case for, and we will reinstate those. We will fund the reinstating of those. So yeah, we wouldn't ask for you guys to fund it. That's not in the consideration. Like everything that we do, we make sure to fund it ourselves. If we can't, we either won't do it, or we will put together a different plan. But yeah, I mean, I don't see it being an issue to bring those utilities back up. But you mentioned, one of the biggest things in Shinja are its utilities. What's your favorite utility that Shinja had?
For me, it would probably either be the swap and the bridge. I mean, those are obviously, I feel, the biggest utilities. I don't think, the metaverse we're not there yet. So I think that's something, I understand all of them cost money to keep up, and I think we spread our wings too far, and we need to consolidate a little bit. I get all that. I was just wondering, for us to start having money come back into our community, we need to, we need to do.
Right.
We need to get a little smaller and then build from there. And I don't know if we have, if we're able to get the funding to get things, or the, like you said, the management part of it to get us back up and going the way we should be. And that's, that's.
Yeah,
that's what
no,
we
no,
need.
for sure, man. For sure. I get it. And, I feel as if, in my personal opinion, I feel like Shinja has too many utilities where it's diluted with utilities, where as to if you focus on one or two utilities and make those great and make those the key focuses of a project, that's how you make it successful. You don't see big companies like I'll use Apple for an example. You don't see them making blenders, and you don't see them making doormats and stuff, right? They're making laptops and phones because that's what they're good at, and they know if they put all their focus into laptops and phones and continue being the best at that, they're going to be successful. But if they start making all kinds of stuff left and right, then they're going to dilute what they're all about. And I feel as if, in this case with Shinja, if we choose one or two utilities that stand out and we can see a bright path for, and put all of our resources towards making those great and making those the main centerpieces of the project, that'll be a better option than having 12 different random utilities that nobody uses.
Yeah, I
And
agree with you. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you.
And to add what Leo had to say, everybody does talk about the Shinja bridge, but can you please elaborate what the bridge is? Is it the BNB bridge that you are referencing?
It's the cross-chain bridge. So we can actually bridge or we could before it went down, between Polygon, Avalanche, Ethereum, BNB. We did have Crow up on it at one time. It just wasn't being utilized, so they pulled it down. And we also had Palm at one time bridged.
And did that work properly?
Yes, it did.
And it was generating revenue?
It was.
Yeah, then obviously that is probably at the top of the list to look into and see how we can resurrect it and move it forward. Keep moving it forward.
The biggest generator of the utilities.
There we go. So we would hone in on part of the 60-day roadmap that we pinned into the latest pin in the chat is that we will see which utilities have value, and we would continue building on top of them and making sure they exist.
Ryan, you had something you want to follow up with?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to follow up with the bridge. It's, I'm from New York. I mean, I'm sure you could tell from my accent. But like we're not even allowed to trade any crypto, and the bridge for me is a huge thing because I can't. There's not even BSC. You can't even trade BSC in New York unless you go through back-ended ways. So for the bridge, it was like I could get Ethereum and I could swap. I could transfer some Ethereum to BSC or like you said, Polygon. It was a big help because for many people you just can't get it. It's not easy to do. So
Yeah.
that was
Okay, thank you, Divine. Go ahead, Peter.
Thank you,
Yeah, I
Jim.
just wanted to say we would have our devs look into every utility and let the community know exactly what we have and what we could use for the future, and making sure that it is a product of Shibnobi and it will continue growing.
Okay, thank you. Mohammed, you can go next, and then it'll be Nils, and then KB has a question. You can go ahead and unmute yourself, Mohammed. I'm not seeing him now. Go ahead, Nils.
Okay. Hi, guys. Hope you're all well. Just have a question, or as I heard this proposal from you guys from ShibaDoge, I would just say one thing. Isn't this like the only kind of way to move this project the right way? Because if you don't relaunch or anything, wouldn't there be like a backdoor or anything from Cliff or so on? Like if they hand over the keys and everything, wouldn't there still be perhaps a backdoor if you would keep the project in just moving all the contracts over and so on and so on? I'm not sure.
Well, if there were a backdoor or if there were any type of exploit like that, more than surely we would find it, through analyzing the contract deeper. But that's not what we're more concerned about. What we're more concerned about is the way that the project is structured as far as the allocations go and the uncertainty of do people that are part of the dev team own XYZ undisclosed amounts, or have people game the system with the pre-sales? There's just a lot of uncertainty on that end, and those are things that will cause a lot of growing pains in the future succession of the project.
Yeah, okay, I get you. Thank you, Leo.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you, Nils. KB, go ahead, sir.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing?
Hey, doing good, bro. How about you?
Good. So I have a few questions. So your proposal is to create a new project, new liquidity, new tokenomics. That means everyone will have to sell their position from the current contract and to buy into the new one, right?
If that's what you wish to do, yeah. I mean, we're not making anybody
No, I'm asking
sell,
if that's the
but
proposal.
yeah, correct. Yeah,
No,
the proposal would be a completely new project with a new liquidity, a new market cap, new holder base, new tokenomics, everything, but keep the Shinja brand. And
exactly.
yeah.
So that'll made it not a relaunch. It's just a new contract. So with that being said, what are the previous holders, gaining from this proposal? I mean, are we using at least the community that we have to promote and do marketing with it? I mean, because I kind of don't understand like the relaunch part. It's if it's a new liquidity and everything, a new project, there's no relaunch. It's just a new launch using the same name.
Yeah, exactly. So it is a relaunch. It is considered a relaunch. But I see what point you're trying to make. And yeah, I mean, it would have to happen that way, in our opinion, for it to be successful. There's no beating around the bush. Without a relaunch, it's just going to be the same tainted project with the broken migration, with the uncertainty of allocations, with the pre-sales, with all that. So yeah, I mean, we're not here trying to sugarcoat it and say, hey, everyone who invested is going to be safe from this or whatever. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is, hey, there's a community of thousands of people in this project who are watching their project dwindle down to nothing, and we're offering a option for how we can help the community, whether they want to get in on day one or whatever, to thrive again. And obviously, there are some people who will like this option, and there are some people who won't like it, and some people who won't understand whether they like it or not. But the important thing is we have a proven track record. We had one of the biggest launches of the year with our burn token, which we had over 3,000 people waiting on a video call, on a voice call in Telegram for 48 hours waiting for it to launch. So our launches are very, very hyped up in a sense. So that will bring a lot of attention to the community just in itself. But the value that you'll be gaining is the value that us and our community bring to the table, which is integrity, which is honest work, which is the marketing that we can do, the development that we could do, the leadership that we have as a core team, and the professional way of handling business in the space of crypto. And I mean, that's the value that we can offer.
All right, and one last thing. You also mentioning about the utilities that we currently have. So you said that you might or might not use it, depends on how many people are using it, right? So if that's the case, let's say you guys decided, okay, we're gonna use the swap, we're gonna use the bridge, or any of the other utilities. What are the previous holders, although they're gonna be jumping into a new project, getting out of this? Like, what are we getting from this? Like, if you guys decided to use one of the previous utilities, okay, what are we getting from it?
I don't seem to understand the question. If we decide to use the utility, then what you would get out of it is what that utility offers. So if we decide to resurrect the bridge, for example, and you're a part of the project, then you'd get the full functionality and the support of a operating bridge. And I mean, that's what you would get out of it.
Okay, thank you.
And any other way we figure out how to reward Shibnobi OG users, part of our 120-day integration plan, where we would integrate the Shibnobi ecosystem into the Shibadoge, cross-integrated between the Shibadoge ecosystem. We will figure out a way to reward existing and true OG community holders based on Etherscan and public data that we do have.
Okay, real quick, if I unmute you, because I'm going to let you speak, do not unmute your mic while they're still talking. Wait until your name is called, please. Mary Jane, you're going to be first, and then it's going to be Solly, and then Fats, and then Empowered. And Shibnocrat, I saw you had your hand up. It went down. If you want to talk, just raise your hand again, and we'll get you in after Empowered. Okay, so Shibnocrat, you'll go after Empowered. So Mary Jane, go ahead, then Solid. Thank you.
Okay, hi guys. How's everyone?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. Okay, so this question may have been asked, but I have to ask it. I'm not sure so that I'm understanding what I'm asking. So the money that I've put in, like right around 45,000, okay, that I put it into Shibnobi. So now that if we go over to you guys, and you stated the liquidity and everything else is gonna stay with Shibnobi, and then we do with it whatever we want to do with it. Well, then that tells me I just lost all of my money. Am I correct?
That would pretty much entail that. So look, what we're trying to propose here is we're not going to continue pursuing what's currently built as far as the contracts and the projects that are live right now trading go. What we're here to offer is another path forward for the community, because honestly, we can experiment both ways, but it's not going to work trying to support what's already there. I do understand how you feel about, like, hey, these guys are not going to support the project, and they put $45,000 into it, and it's very upsetting to see it go to whatever amount it is now. But that's out of our control, and that's not anything that we can do or control. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No. I understand, and I'm not trying to ask you guys to give back or whatever because of what was done. I have better sense than that. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm understanding what is about to happen if in the event we go that way. So that means out of the 45,000 or so I put in, then looking at my money now, I'm $700 and some dollars. That's it. So before getting this understanding of what you're telling me, I really wasn't too angry. Now
Right.
I'm beginning to get hurt and angry, which is nothing I can do about it. It should be.
Right. No, we definitely understand the situation, and I honestly believe me, if we could fix it in the snap, we would. But
So that means,
what?
no, let me say, so that means I would have to start over with you guys. And then I'm done. I'm done. I'm not going to try to recoup or put more in and start over. Look how much money I entrusted. And I understand that they say, don't put in what you can't afford to lose. It's not going to hurt me. Okay? It's not going to hurt me. But what's hurting me is my trust.
Exactly, and that's the main thing that we advocate for in our projects, and that's something that we can't tolerate is people that dwindle the trust of their community. So that's something that you won't have to have a worry about if you're a part of our community, whether you're invested in our projects or not. You're more than welcome to come hang out in our community and be a part of it. But whether you're an investor or not, we have a space for everybody who's a good soul, and anybody who's trying to surround themselves with positivity and positive vibes. That's what we strive to push forward in this space.
Thank you.
Mary Jane, one thing to keep in mind, nothing is set in stone yet. And when the time comes, all the community members will have to cast their votes on the DAO site. as to which path Shibnobi decides to go down.
Exactly.
Thank you, Mary Jane. And
Okay.
dear, I completely understand your emotion. And if you need to reach out to me, just DM me. We can talk. Okay.
No, because I trusted and I didn't know anyone. And
I know.
even when it was going low, I was still putting in. And look, I'm not crying because of the money. I understood what they stated. Don't put in what you can't afford to lose. So I think I would have been better. I think I would have been better had everybody hung in together. And if we're gonna sink, we're gonna sink together. Or if we're gonna go up, we're gonna go up together, you know? And
Well, and
then just
we do have that. We've got that option on the table, and that's one that you can vote for. So that's what I was saying. It feel free to DM me. You know, and I know you haven't been in it for all the AMAs, I don't think, but you know, if there's anything that I can share with you, I'll be more than happy to. Okay.
Well,
I mean, we're trying to find.
So
Oh, you okay? Okay, I'm sorry then. We're
I've
trying to
been
find a way
listening
out
to
of this.
all of the ones. I've been listening to all of the ones that you had coming forth and pitching. You know what they. You know, I've been listening.
Okay. And then, you know, we still have the go it alone option. So, you know, we're not, no final decision's been made. I just want you to know that. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, dear.
All right.
And Mary Jane, yeah, the facts are the facts. Unfortunately, we're at a situation where we do have to relaunch, well, our option, our plan C, whether the community wants to consider it or not, or accept it, or whatever the decision is, our plan C is to relaunch the Shibnobi ecosystem with new tokenomics and token distributions approved by the community. And we feel that this is the way we need to take, because we don't know what the previous developers or token holders, what their distribution looks like. So it poses a risk for Shibnobi as it continues to grow. But as our final note on our proposal, we did say we are open to what the community has to add before a relaunch, right? And we are all about rewarding, obviously, the people that have stuck with us through the thick and thin. And we are open to proposals here at ShibaDoge. We are open to any proposal that the community feels that would benefit the OG holders, whether it's whatever you feel it is, whether it's a token allocation to those users that were affected or whatever you feel is right. We're there. Also, part of our 120-day plan, we want to cross integrate the Shibnobi ecosystem with the ShibaDoge ecosystem, and with that, we will be able to reward the Shibnobi community with incentives in the ShibaDoge ecosystem that hopefully does have some value. So that could create some more value for you. But other than that, you know, it is what it is, and we feel that Plan C is the viable way that we could continue and help Shibnobi moving forward, whether it's us or whoever it is. But by the way, we're not here for anything other than helping this community. From the very beginning, when we launched the project, we were about decentralization and unity, right? We launched Elon into space together. Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember or not, but the ShibaDoge and the Shibnobi community partnered up together and also donated $50,000 to the cancer charity, children's charity together. So we're not just here because we want anything. We're just here to offer our support for the community, and we don't want to see it. We want to see it grow. That's what it is. And the Plan C that we're proposing is a proposal for growth that we think that is possible. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. We're not, Peter said it right, man. We're not here trying to cause any harm to anyone. All we're trying to do is find options to help you people out, and at the same time integrate the community that you guys have going with our community, just to make the both of us stronger. Your guys' community will be stronger. Our community will be stronger. It's a win-win for for both projects in that scenario. I can see how people are upset about the way things are going, but it's like, what can you do at this point? It's either you just take a shot in the dark and try to scale what is currently happening, or go with a plan C of what we're proposing, and have a fighting chance of like something fresh and back on the books. But then again, it's at the very end of it, it's up to you guys whether you want to take us up on our offer or not. We're just here trying to help people out. That's what we've always been about, and that's what we will continue to do, whether this works out or not.
Okay, Solly, go ahead, buddy. Solly, you need to unmute. I've got your mic ready to go. All you got to do is hit the blue button, buddy. All right. If you come back, Solly, feel free to raise your hand again. Fats, you'll be next, then Empowered, then Shibnocrat, and then after Shibnocrat, it's going to be Raj, and then after Raj, Tony, Truck, and Venus. Your hands went down. You can put them back up, and then Eddie, you would be after Venus.
Hello,
Go ahead,
guys.
Fat.
I'm just trying to figure out exactly what we're actually doing, because you're asking us, or you're saying to us, that we are going to leave everything the way it is, and the money that people have in the project, in the token, you're not going to use their utility. So we don't have an ecosystem that you'd actually be using, except for a few different projects in it. So it's not really an ecosystem. And then all of a sudden, after 120 days of us, I can't understand how we can even keep things exactly the way it is, because the people that have been withdrawing money are not going to stop withdrawing money and selling. So how is the token supposed to gain value? And what is going to happen to the liquidity after 120 days? After you finally relaunch us and then you take over everything, what happens to the liquidity?
We're not gonna touch the liquidity. That's for you guys to do whatever you wish to do. We're just not going to support that contract any longer, right? That's not where our ever.
Right. So
yeah.
So that contract stays in force the whole time. It never goes away.
It'll eventually, once there's no liquidity left in it, once everyone like decides to whatever they want to do with it, if they're selling, let them sell. If there's nothing into it, then we'll just close it down. But as long as there's people in it, then we wouldn't touch it.
So
as long as there's nobody
what
in
happens,
it, yeah.
Leo, what happens to the value of the people that hold on to the token and stay in the project under the Shibnobi name, and you do a relaunch, or liquidity goes down to zero? I'm not saying how could anybody that stays in it, that has been holding the token all this time, actually get any value back if they stay in?
Well, that's the thing, my friend. That's the reason why we've even come up with this plan C to begin with, is because after we've done our due diligence, we realized to a point where the way that the allocations are set up, and the way that just the whole everything that has to do with just the pre-sales and not being a fair launch, it's not decentralized. It's not going to be as easy to scale it back to those heights as you guys can imagine. It's not. We do this for a living. We understand what it takes to scale projects and take them to different levels and community growth and whatnot. The community, it can grow. That's not the issue. The issue is if for every time $1 million goes in and there's $2 million coming out, you're never going to scale that. You're just always going to be fighting an uphill battle. And we don't want to be opening up a can of worms if we're going to be getting involved with trying to help the community out in integrating your guys. Yeah, that's the thing, and
but
we
what
understand
I don't get is what's the purpose of doing a relaunch 120 days from now when it goes to zero? Nobody's going to have any money left to do anything with.
No, you're understanding it incorrectly. That 120-day thing is just a plan that's set out. So the relaunch would happen on day one. We wouldn't wait till anybody. We wouldn't wait 120 days, right? We'd give a actual fair launch date, right? And we'd launch on that day. In the first 30 days of launch, prior to launch, it would be, market and relaunch would happen with the approved tokenomics. That's what would happen in the first 30 days. And by day 60, what we would want to already have done would be to have the utilities intact, whichever ones we find value in, keep the NFT ecosystem thriving, because right now there is no plan behind the NFT ecosystem, and there's like 8,000 NFTs that people have bought with nothing behind it, right? So we'd resurrect that. And by day 90, we'd already want to have the brand and the community be stabilized, because right now it's in a broken place. Let's be real.
Right, but it's under the same name you're keeping it, correct?
Yes. Everything would stay under the same name. The brand would stay under the same name. Everything would stay under the same name. Even the new token would entail Shinja Shibnobi. The only thing is
less products. Like we're just going to
use we'll optimize the products. We'll use the correct products.
And the community will be left alone unless you need anything from us. Like we're not here to touch the community or anything like that. In terms of we're just here to offer guidance and wisdom. That's it. And
we're not going to be like a dictatorship
right at this time. We have
you don't have a leadership
who's trying to keep us together.
Yeah, so we would bring leadership. That's the thing. What Peter's trying to say is, like, we're not going to be here and be like, hey, you guys have to do this like this from now on or that from now on. That's not what we're trying to do. We know what it takes to be leaders in the space, right? And I mean, obviously, there are some people who are from our community that are listening in, and they know what I'm talking about when I say that. But then some of you guys who are just hearing me for the first time are like, who's this guy? What is he even saying? I would tell you guys to just go and do an hour of research on us, and then make a decision based off of that.
You already. I own your token. I understand that part. What I'm trying to say is, how does my community in Shibnobi get built back up to where it's feasible for everybody to stay? Because after a period of time, if there is not a total whole new marketing plan with money put into that marketing plan, how do we grow?
Well, exactly. That's what we're bringing to the table. We're not just going to do this without any marketing, without any money. We're not just going to be marketing to this community. We're going to be marketing to the entire crypto market. It's not just going to be like, hey, Shinja people, we're doing a relaunch, go buy this token. That's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is there's going to be
between our two communities, what is the benefit from what your part of your community has, the part of our community, and what we're going to put both together and then advertise them all the same way? Is that how we plan on doing it?
Yeah, it would be part of like a package, right? So it wouldn't be all advertised the same way. Every project will have its own identity, and the difference would be that our marketing campaigns would be what's structuring and running the marketing behind Shinja, behind Shibadoge, behind the Burn project, behind our NFTs, behind your guys' NFTs. But I understand why it's such a hard thing to kind of understand, because it's nothing like this has ever happened in this space before. It hasn't. No other project has ever came into a DeFi project and said, hey, we want to do a takeover, or hey, we want to do an acquisition, we want to acquire the company. Like that's never happened. This is a first. This has never happened before. That's why there's so many loose-ended questions in the back where, I don't expect a lot of people to understand, because there is nothing to refer to that's happened in the past before where we can kind of like correlate it together. This is why it's
CVC, and that's what we merged with back then, which is basically what we're doing now. Only you're letting our project run, but I don't know what utility we're going to be using. Just a couple of items. It's no different than everybody else at that point.
Well, what utility would you guys be using now if you were to continue with the project the way it is?
Well, that's why we're all going to sit and talk about what we want to keep. But that's
Right.
not what I'm looking to see what your company is going to bring to the table for management and everything to push us forward, for everybody to be able to have a chance of seeing a light at the end of the tunnel of them starting to grow again.
Yeah, we're going to bring marketing.
I'm not explaining, but
Yeah, no, we're going to bring marketing and community growth to not only the crypto sector of it, but also the NFT sector of it too. And whenever you did mention there might not be an ecosystem, but there is a Shibnobi ecosystem, and it comprises of the NFTs, and we want to make sure that lives on forever and continues growing. And we're going to make sure that happens too and help support that vision.
okay. All right, thank you for your answers.
Yeah, I would love to jump in and just say that I think that you bring up a lot of great questions. And I think that there is a fundamental challenge here that is very, very significant. At the end of the day, we've presented a number of options and a number of plans. And, those plans have all been driven by one mission, right? And the mission is, what's the path forward for the Shinja community? What's the path forward for Shinja as a whole? And a lot of the feedback that we've received and a lot of the DMs that we've received have been really around this. Well, how do I recoup my original investment? How do I be made whole?
Which is not going to happen for quite a long time.
It's really difficult for us because, here we are at the end of the day, there's two frameworks here. There's like two buckets. There is the brand and community of Shinja, and then there is the investment side of it. And there's this, obviously from the investment side of it, the bucket of the investment, we all want to recoup. And again, I say this as a holder of Shinja. And here's where we came to the plan C. I think plan C is important to at least address. And like Peter said, at the end of the day, this is a community thing. Every single one of you guys should just be looking at it as there is a development team that is proven, that has a track record, that is building for Web3 and building for the future, and will integrate all possible aspects of where that can go, whether that's NFTs, whether that's ERC20 tokens, whatever that may be, we're going to build. And if you guys would like to join that journey, you guys can be a part of it. But Plan C came out of the light of what's the best possible way that we can drum up a fresh start. A fresh start offers us an opportunity to really rebuild the name, rebuild the potential, right, of what this project can be, what this community can be. I think there's been a lot of sort of historical things that have happened that have really going to put us in an unfortunate position. I challenge you all to think about what would happen if for the next 7 days Shinja would be the trending coin, whether that be because of market cap gains, losses, whether that be because of volume, whether that be because of just individual number of token holder growth, whatever that may be. I want you to think about what would happen if that, all things considered in the current position that it is, I want you to think about what that would mean for somebody that's new or somebody that is at least aware of the Shinja community, and what would they say, right? And so when we came back and we said, okay, let's offer a few different options, which was the challenge for us, is, we're hearing about all these different holders and we're trying to figure out a plan that makes everyone whole. We came in with plan C thinking there was going to be a substantial opportunity combining the communities that we do have, our marketing capabilities, our product and operational capabilities, all of those things combined. There may be a chance that we can see the historical heights that we've seen in the past with your community. And that would offer a lot of opportunity for the people within the community. I hear what you're saying is, so what benefit do I have for being a part of Shinja from the beginning? And I think that's a very valid question and a very valid statement. But at the same time, I think that in and of itself is the question and also the answer. You are here, you are early, you are a part of this. And if there is a path forward with a proper development team, there may be an outcome that is favorable for everyone involved, even if it is the least, how do I say, is it the best, the most easygoing, the path of least resistance that requires the least amount of work? I don't know. It's an option that's available to us, and this is something that we have to consider.
Just a little bit of what I feel that what we need to do is whatever decisions we decide on which company we go with, yours or whoever else we're with, each of us should have a team of people that we each have on each side, and we get together, and that group of your side and our side, or whoever the sides are, then they get together, and that's the team for both communities. And all money and all progress is supposed to be where both communities build from there. But I'm just to lead to, I guess I took it a little bit the wrong way as far as your offer, or not your offer, but your proposal of plan C is that we stay basically doing the same things that we have already been doing. It's not anything that's going to change, other than unless we're all putting our ideas together in one group and moving forward at that point. That's the only way I see us working out. Or we do it all on our own, and we find some type of an investor that we have money that we could go out and build the whole company from scratch.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid statement. I think at the end of the day, you guys have to evaluate, and I'm speaking purely from a holder standpoint as well as just an unbiased element to the party of transaction here.
Yes, and I'm not getting mad at you, by the way.
No, of course. No, I'm with you. I mean, look, we're all trying to figure this out. Like this is a math problem, and we're going to figure it out. That's correct. Whether 2 + 2 is 4 today or it's 5, we have to figure it out. The reality of the situation is we were tasked with a challenge of, and we took this kind of upon ourselves, is what is going to be the best possible way that we can drive the most amount of return for the existing holders. And we've looked at it. We're up against challenges which are brand reputation. We're up against these challenges that are, hey, look, the name has been tarnished in some way. It doesn't matter how it's been tarnished. Not to mention that we're in a bear market. On top of that, it's the number of ERC wallets that are growing, it's like a million different things. But at the same time, it's sort of the only answer that you have to look for is, is that path the most viable way? And also, is having a proven development team backing that going to result in the highest yield for the holders? That's the question. I mean, that's the mathematical answer, the formula. Is that the 2 + 2 = 4? That's kind of it at the end of the day.
You're right. I'm sorry for taking up everybody's time.
No, it's a great question.
Okay.
I think that it was very valid.
Thanks, Fats. Trina, go ahead.
Yeah, I first said Leo and I think Ted, I appreciate you guys being here. It's going to be really hard to send something so sad for our community that we are so hurt and not trusting anymore. That being said, I just kind of want to verify the bottom line is once if what they're saying is being upfront, the money that we have left, say I put $100,000 in and now I only have 1,000. They're going to relaunch that $1,000. I would reinvest in the league relaunch. So all that other money is gone, people. It's just gone. I'm sorry, but it's gone. That means we can put it in any project we want. We can either put it in a project that we go together as a group, or we can go our separate ways. We want to stay together, but we want to be with people that we trust. And if you think there's going to be any liquidity, there's not going to be any. The big bags are going to sell. The liquidity is going to be gone. So what we're doing is we're going to trust in them to be our leaders and just put our money into a new project like we did when Shibnobi began. I know that it's sad. So we have to ask ourselves, do we want to stay together as a group and do it that way and start brand new with just what we have left? Do we want to keep the Shibnobi name, or are we stained? Are we ruined? Or is the name out there not going to be, we're not going to be proud of? What are we going to do as a community? And do we want to stay together and fight this battle? Thank you guys for being here, and thank you, family. And my heart goes out to each and every one of you.
Ma'am, that is the most honorable thing, and frankly, that is what we're trying to accomplish here. Is we're trying to accomplish a goal where you can stay, you can still prevail as a community. That is, and that's why we've presented a number of options. It is why we've came with a new plan C, which very well may be taken in the wrong way, very well maybe not even voted in. But as you can see from it's a testament of our effort to try and showcase our commitment to making sure that this community remains. I think that there is a lot to be said about what you just said, which is why the community wants to stay together, why you want to still remain, and all the good times and all the good memories that you guys share. I think that there is an intangible value in that. I don't think that there is a price. I don't think there is a token. There is no tokenization of that. I'm sorry, as much as I love Web3, you cannot put a number or a token value on the good times that have been shared and the memories that you guys all have as a community. That's our goal, is to try and figure out how this group of people can still come together and prevail in this new ecosystem that may require us to adapt, that may require us to evolve and change. But that's what we're here to try and do, and figure out what the best path forward is. The thing that we can guarantee you, and the thing that we can promise, is that we're committed, and we can talk about that as much as we want. And there is as many sales pitches as we can give, and as many different plans all the way through Z that we can give. But the only thing that we can prove is what we've done with our current and existing projects. And we'd hope that the things that we have done have showcased our testament and our commitment to Web3 as a whole, and why we are actually looking at this as a bigger and broader opportunity, both from a growth standpoint from our project, but also for your project as well. So I feel you in every single sense of the word. I really do. And I want you to understand that the things that you just described are equally, if not more important than the token value and the initial ETH investment that you put into it. Tenfold, thousandfold. There is no number there. It's priceless.
All right, Shibnocrat, you're next, and then after Shibnocrat, it's going to be Tony, and then Venus, then Eddie, and I think we're going to end it with Army. Because that's going to put us at about an hour and a half, I'm sure, if not over. And I don't want to eat all these guys' time up. We can, always go back to their community, and if you need to ask further questions, feel free to do so. So, go ahead, Shibnocrat.
Hello, guys. I just first want to say that I feel like there was a lot of thought put into this plan C, even though I was not for a plan C or of any kind uh, at first, but I feel like there's a lot of thought put into it. If people think about it and process this, and they'll probably understand why plan C was an option for these guys, and I really respect them for having plan C. Having said that, I feel that the community uh, have lost a lot, and I feel like a little bit of emphasis needs to be put placed on how uh, uh, ShibaDoge could help remediate some of the loss that the community is feeling right now. I understand they don't know, they can't airdrop stuff, they can't um, do that sort of thing. But can they tell us what they might be willing or be able to do to help remediate or to help compensate or to help make whole? I'm not saying to make whole, but I think they understand what I'm saying. For those people who feel such big loss, and since they've invested their money in a Shibnobi, what can they do for the community to help compensate them a little bit? Maybe having an early maybe early investors in it. I don't know. Maybe whitelisted. I don't understand. I don't know, but something. What can be done?
Yeah, that's a great question for the community. And part of our proposal, we ended it off with just stating that pretty much if the community has any feedback that they would want to add before the relaunch, we would be acceptable to that. And that does include rewarding original holders in Shibnobi that have been part of the project from the beginning and have trusted the project. And we are open to any ideas that you might have, maybe whether it's, for example, it might be a treasury contribution from the Shibadoge community or whatever it might be to the Shibnobi community, whatever it might be. If you have any ideas, feel free to let us know and we will consider all of them. We do want to reward original holders and holders that have stayed true to the brand, and we are open to all and every idea. So feel free if you have any.
And also, I don't mean to hold you guys too long, but would the relaunch be in both ETH and BNB or just ETH?
Initially, it will be an ETH relaunch, and then we would bridge to BNB without relaunching a different token. We would bridge to BNB with a token allocation where we would be supportive on both chains. And then we would focus on more chains after that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Shibnocrat. Guys, I messed up. Raj, I got you. You're first, and then Tony, then Venus, then Eddie, and then Army's going to close it up. I forgot. I told Raj via DM because he's one of our mods and he can't raise his hand. So go ahead, Raj.
Yeah, I need to get a little clarification here. You guys said you want to reward the OG Shibnobi holders, but yet you said upon the relaunch we would be totally left out, or left out hung to dry. How are you gonna be able to accommodate both of those? For example.
Yeah, so part of our 120-day relaunch plan, we were focused on a cross-breed integration between both communities where we would offer products from Shibadoge, whether it's free mints or other opportunities for existing OG holders of of Shibnobi. And obviously we would have to classify what that even means, but it's obviously would encompass every holder that has believed in the project, or whoever the community agrees on we should acknowledge and reward. So, but it would be through a cross integration between both communities where we offer ShibaDoge products to the Shibnobi community where there is some value in them at least.
Yeah,
And
to be clear,
many other ideas that the Shibnobi community has in mind too.
yeah, and to be clear, when we say we're going to be like rewarding the OGs and we're going to be rewarding, you know, the loyal consumer base, it's not, we can't make people a whole again. If you're lost $10,000, $40,000, $100,000 on that, you're not going to be able to make the accommodation to airdrop somebody that much of a reward, right? These rewards are just something that we like to do for our community already, and that's something that we can do for the Shinja community as well, if you know, given that opportunity. But you know, we're not like you said we were going to leave people out to hang drying. That's not what our intentions are. Our intentions are to actually create a path to move forward and grow out of this in a positive way for this community, rather than, you know, in your own words, be left out hung to dry, which is kind of what's happening to the Shinja community right now as we speak, right? So we're not the bad people in this situation. We're here trying to you know, offer a helping hand, man.
I really don't think that another relaunch would be necessary, because we just got through we just did a relaunch back in November, and I think we can turn this ship around, and it is possible without screwing the old holders.
So let me ask you a question. Do you know what the current token allocation is and how much of the token allocation the developers or the staking contract or exchanges own?
I'm pretty sure that you know, we can get those numbers together, and but in all reality, I think you can't just up and plan on screwing the long-time holders like
All right,
that.
Raj, I'm going to stop you there real quick, okay? Because this is one of 3 offers that they've made, okay? And we don't need to be shooting the messenger here, okay? They're offering different solutions, and if we don't like them, we don't like them. But there's no need to, I mean, basically that comes across as insulting, and it's just not fair to them. So I ask that you please not do that.
And with all due respect, I mean, we understand where you're coming from, and the only reason why we're proposing this Plan C is because after just considering everything that we've looked into, is we're not sure what the real true token distribution of the V2 looks like. We don't know how much the devs own. We don't know how much the pre-sale wallets own. We don't know how much the staking wallet owns, that the whoever owns a part of that, you know? So what we propose for the longevity of the Shibnobi brand is a proper relaunch where it's transparent who owns what. And we're going to put all our marketing, all our brand knowledge together and make sure that we can make the relaunch as successful as possible. Obviously, people are hurt from where they are, from their current situation. But the way we feel that we could move this forward, this brand, this project, this community forward, is through a proper relaunch with a transparency of token distributions.
Well, Peter, as you put it earlier on our call when we had a meeting prior to this one, you said, this is actually a quote, you said, there is enough uncertainty that we don't know what will happen. And if, let's say, there is a surge of buys on the chart, we don't know, and we frankly have zero idea and zero transparency into knowing whether there is a big sell or a number of sells. We don't know where that's coming from. And that can fundamentally hurt the outcome of this. Even if we all rallied together and worked on this and it all worked out, there could be still some fundamental issues that we have zero transparency on that can hold this back. And that is a quote from you earlier. So I definitely stand by what you said as well.
Okay, Tony, go ahead, buddy.
Hey guys, I appreciate you guys coming and proposing the offer. You know, we as a Shinja community, I don't feel want to relaunch the coin. No disrespect to what your idea is, but we have a strong community. It's a bear market. Yeah, we're all in the thing, but a lot of projects are 90-95% down. And we built this project as a community. We had a head figure that stepped aside, but I think, in all honesty, if we build a proper, let's say, team of our community, we can rebuild this coin. But I mean, I'm completely lost on what you guys proposed today. To me, it sounds like you want to completely dismantle Shinobi, start all over, and then everybody that holds, and I'm a big holder too, by the way. You know, and I feel bad for Mary Jane and some of the other holders that got on here. You know, they have a lot of money invested. I'm a big holder in a lot of projects. But I just don't see, you know, I don't see how dismantling Shinobi or relaunching Shinobi is gonna benefit us as a community. I just don't see it. And me personally, my vote, and this will be the last thing I say, I would not myself vote for Plan C. So again, I appreciate you guys offering the proposal. Thank you for the time. I appreciate that. But I'm just telling you what I think.
Sure, man. Understandable.
And I
Thank
think
you.
that's super fair. And I mean, we're looking at the law of big numbers here, and we're looking at the economics of this project, and seeing as how the average, the norm at this point for a lot of the holders are in the sub 90-95% in net losses. You know, we're trying to think of very creative ways. And again, this is what Peter had said, is like, we're really welcome and open. Look at this as the norm. Look at this as the standard and the baseline. The baseline is that you have a willing development team that's willing to take over. It's a turnaround job. It's a turnaround management role. And, you know, we're absolutely open to hearing about the different opportunities that you guys think would be the better direction to go with the project. And frankly, that might be plan, you know, E and F and G. You know, we don't know if there may be a completely different plan that's entirely better for all of us, and that works out in everyone's favor. So please, you know, for the sake of everything, do not hesitate to share as many ideas as possible. You know, our goal is looking at the challenges ahead, looking at the numbers, the economics of everything, the tokenomics, and, you know, really understanding how do we get, you know, battling the uphill and the you know, rowing uphill with the history that's behind the project. You know, how do we get this to come back to a place where those numbers are not as close to where they are right now in terms of people's net losses or people's value allocation for their token. So it's kind of a dynamic and fluid environment, meaning there is no right or wrong answer, and either path we choose is great, and we're all open for it. But at the end of the day, the consistent and the norm, the standard, the baseline, the denominator is that you have a proven development team that is willing to take over and willing to take charge, willing to take responsibility, provide the transparency, and provide the ownership over the wrongs and the rights, and make this ship sail like it's never sailed before.
Thank you, guys. Venus, and then Eddie, and then we're going to wrap it up with Army. Venus, are you there? All right. Well, we're going to move on to.
Can I just got a yes or no real quick. Can I get it in fast, buddy?
Yeah, well, I'll bring you in because Venus dropped. I'll bring you in after Army. Okay.
All right.
So
Super
Eddie
fan.
Turner.
Hello, how you doing, sir? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. I got a question. It's it might be a little bit off the charts. After the all right, let's just say you do a relaunch, right? It's just a proposal. On the relaunch, what if you put a stipulation in there, right? That will actually help everybody like that lost, like it will help build up the market cap and the liquidity. And the stipulation is this: what if you put in the contract that whoever buys in, they can't sell for a year, and when that year comes, they can only sell half, and the other half you can't sell for 6 months, right? So in 1 year, if people buy in, right, and they can't sell for a year, the market cap is gonna boom big time, because whoever buys in, they're gonna understand the contract. Okay, you know, other people buying in. You got thousands of people buying in Shibnobi, especially from the relaunch and all that stuff. In 1 year, that market cap can grow. I mean, it's just a suggestion, you know. And the other question is this: by you guys taking over, ShibaDoge is locked. Liquidity is locked for 888 years. So that means that you guys, once we come with you guys, we're going to be locked in with you guys for 888 years, right? That's
I mean, that would be, yeah.
As Leo, you know, at the end of the day, the liquidity in the contract is locked actually permanently. So as long as the blockchain is a thing, our liquidity is locked. And
yeah,
that's just the nature of the way that the contract is designed.
Yeah, but and then as far as your stipulations go, I get what you mean, and I see how that can be something cool to do, but we wouldn't do that, man. We don't like to lock people into anything. Firstly, there's like legal stuff with that. Secondly, everyone should be free to do whatever they wish to do on DeFi to begin with. So we don't like locking people into anything. We don't even do that with our NFT war zone. You know, you can go in and out as you please. There's no lock or time limit, anything like that. So that's not an option for us. But I understand what type of message you're trying to get through with that.
But to add one thing, Leo, is with a relaunch, we would add some stipulations where if you did sell within the first 24 or 48 hours, which would obviously be transparent before we launch it, you would have a higher sales tax, which would feed into the liquidity pool, etc.
Right. Yeah. So that could be an option, right? So it's like the first 2 or 3 days, you know, there will be a higher sell tax to just help, you know, pump up the liquidity pool that's being built off of a launch, which is something that's commonly done on launches anyway. So, yeah, but that's a whole different scenario than what this gentleman Eddie was proposing.
All right. I want to thank you guys. Thank you very much. Just thank you. Hallelujah.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you.
Hey, thank you, Eddie. Army, go ahead.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, good. How you doing?
Guess pretty much the same as everybody else at this point. I guess one of my questions, we've seen a lot of people come and go with the dev team, the issues that we have now, and you know the head of it and minions, etc. Are you guys expecting to have full rights? Are you going to kind of combine with the dev team here? What is the full goal at the end of that?
Yeah, no, we would pretty much implement our own teams onto everything. Whatever dev team that currently does exist, we will interview them and see if we could find any value in keeping them. But we would pretty much implement our own structured teams to be the core developers moving forward.
Okay, and then with the tokens that we have now, with the relaunch moving forward, et cetera, if that's the route that everyone decides to go or doesn't, whatever the case may be. I mean, if we stay here and hold to it, it could potentially become nothing. And then if we relaunch, just immediately becomes nothing either way. It just really depends on how it plays. So I guess my biggest question is like the Shibnobi verse and the play and everything else that came out. I took a long break, so there's a lot that I've missed. Is any of that still viable and moving?
So we would have to pick and choose what we would find to be the strongest utilities that would be utilized moving forward. We definitely don't want, like I said before, we don't want to be diluted with 20 different utilities that nobody uses. We much rather have one or two really strong ones that kind of revolve around the entirety of the project that everyone would use, rather than be a Walmart and have everything. That's not what we want to be. I definitely find more value in having a utility, one strong or two very strong utilities, rather than just trying to be a one-stop shop. That's not the way to scale things in this industry.
Okay. And then the last question, kind of wrap that up for you guys. I know you're on a time crunch here. How exactly would you get full rights? Is there legal aspects we have to do to get other people that are on the whitelist and initials going through all the certificates and stuff to get them switched over to you guys? Is that something that's pretty easily done, or is that going to take some time as well?
Right. So go ahead, Alex.
I was going to say, I think that the picture of everything is not really clear. I don't think anything's easy. I come from the methodology that everything is really hard, and we'll be extremely excited when it's really easy. I think from a contract standpoint, it's pretty straightforward. I think from a transition of the utilities and the programs, we've received pretty positive sentiment as to the ability to transfer that over and being able to deploy that on our own engines and our own systems. So to give you a complete answer, there is no definitive, straightforward, it's easy, it's not easy, it's like kind of up in the air at this point. I think what we're going to do day one is, okay, let's get the contract over. I think that's the most important thing. Everything related to the contract and the token itself, that is the key, most important element. Then it goes into the technology, moving over servers, moving over and migrating the actual code, making sure the code base is sound and checks out. All of those things are going to be the next phase. We have absolutely no idea how long that's going to take, with all transparency. I mean, it could be a one-day thing. It could be a 1 hour thing. It could be a 1 week thing. Could be even a month thing. We don't know. That's as straight as it's going to get.
All right, and I appreciate that. I'm a holder of you guys as well. Have been for a while. Been here since week 2. Been with you guys since week 1. So I'm definitely aware of what you're capable of. There's one thing I can say is everyone here listening, I'm more than likely familiar to you. You've seen me once or twice. At least give the guys a shot. Go check them out. Do some research. Think about it.
Well, thank you for being with us since week 1.
Let's go.
Drew, can you check your
Appreciate
message
that.
real quick?
Dreams, go ahead. Yeah, JP, I will.
Real quick, guys, I think I know the answer. It seemed clear in the beginning, but proposal A and B are off the table, right? And it's just this proposal C now. Is that correct?
Ideally, proposal B would be off the table, yes. So we wouldn't want to merge the tokens together. The main reason being so that it's still almost impossible to verify the allocations.
Okay, so A is still on the table, or we'd be standalone, stay the way we are, and you would essentially help us out. Is that and then possibly emerge later on down the line? Is that correct?
Essentially, A and C kind of correlate together, where as to A is, in my opinion, a more handicapped approach, because I can assure you that it would be much easier to scale a project from starting fresh with a fair launch rather than to scale a project that has been tainted and has a tainted history to it with the the contract and the allocations.
Okay, thanks.
All right, guys. Well, again, thank you for being here. I do have one quick question, and it might have been covered earlier, but just for clarification, on the plan, do you guys have a predetermined token count and the tokenomics already figured out for that, or is that something that you would release later?
Yeah, so we would release different options to present to the community, and we definitely take the community's input as to what they like, considering the options that we present. Ideally, we'd want something that would be around I'm not going to share the full details of it right now because I don't want anyone to go and start copying things, but it would have a very strong roadmap and narrative behind it, and something that people in this space can actually get behind, and something that people in this space can actually relate to. And it's a proven concept and a proven narrative that is something that works. And not only does it work, it's very successful in the way that it works. So I mean, depending on what type of feedback we get based off of this proposal, we could get into more detail on that. But like I said, I don't want to spoil anything just to have competitors or other people try to copy it. So that's pretty much all I'll say.
Like we said, Leo, this morning, we would make a very strong recommendation, based on all things that we're aware of within the industry. And it'll be up to the community to decide.
All right, guys. Well, again, thank you for your time. And, I appreciate you guys coming to the table with, the C option. The news isn't always great, and that's not your fault. You guys aren't the ones that, created the position that we're in. And that's what I wanted to remind everybody of is, don't shoot the messenger because it's not their fault. So,
right.
And, definitely we appreciate you guys taking the time and the effort to, come together with another proposal. And, anybody that's got questions that weren't answered, I know I've got some questions from Discord. I will personally make sure they get DM'd over to Leo and the team. And once I get an answer back on those, JP, I will get those answers back to you so you can share them. But, we've eaten up a lot of these guys' time, and they've got lives at Sunday. So, we're going to let them have a respite. And guys, if you've got anything else you want to say in closing, please.
No, really nothing else to say. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in and, spending your Sunday evening with us. So thank you guys. Hope you guys enjoy whatever is left of the weekend, and feel free to even tag me or anybody else on our team if you have any other questions, or hop into our Telegram chat and, feel free to ask there too. We're around pretty much 24/7. If we don't reply right away, we'll see it at some point and get back to you.
Thank you.
All
Thanks
right,
again.
I'm going to stop the recording, Drew.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you guys. I'll say